please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All board members are present, along with Superintendent Gymnastics. And we have the meeting agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the meeting agenda? None? Anybody else? Here none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Ostendorf, is there a second?
Second.
Second by who? Ms. Who? Ms. Roy? Ms. Tiff? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our educational plan is visible right behind Board Member Schoenfelder. With that, Board Member Ostendorf will read our mission statement.
The mission of the Red Wing Public Schools is to educate and inspire all students as they realize their full potential and become respectful, responsible, and productive citizens.
Thank you. And tonight, we have a student and school showcase. I believe we have Bill Emery here. Red Wing High School FFA. No, they're not here tonight?
Just something in his conferences, so we're.
Okay, maybe they'll come later. We'll push them to the end if they show up. So move along for recognitions and upcoming events. Anybody have anything?
I would just like to congratulate the girls volleyball program on a really great season. They did a great job, so way to go, girls.
The other thing that's probably notable is the Veterans Day program on Friday at 9:30. So that'll be a large event here.
Yeah, everybody's welcome. It's free to come and honor the veterans who served us in this great country. I attended the National Honor Society on inductees on Wednesday. It was very well nice, and the returners that came there too. So that was nice, along with Board Member Tiff. We were there. Wasn't a very long presentation, but it was very nice. Anybody else have anything else? Okay. Public comment, and I believe we have a few people here that have signed up for public comment. I'm going to read the rules to you. If you've heard them before, bear with me. The school board would like to provide interested community members an opportunity to provide appropriate public comment. We seriously consider all questions and concerns presented, but we follow protocols to ensure orderly operation of the meeting and the development of an appropriate response. Public may provide comment in person and sign in upon arrival, or public comment may be shared by emailing statement to jrbryant@rwps.org or bjoshik@rwps.org by noon the day of the meeting. The statement must include the writer's name and address. On review of the appropriate edits as per expectations outlined in the public comment portion of the school board agenda, the individual will be invited to attend the community virtual and read their statement to the board during the public comment portion of the agenda if they wish. The following guidelines will be followed during public comment. We expect the comments to be limited to 3 minutes per person, and that a representative be selected to speak on behalf of a group of individuals attending the meeting for the same topic. The school board will listen to the public comments, but will not discuss the topic at the meeting. The school board and/or school board chair may provide a response outlining the steps the school district has taken or will take to address the concerns. A summary of the school district actions in response to public comment provided to the school board, individuals submitting public comment or public and at later date as appropriate. We expect that comments remain respectful and appropriate and not identify any current or former students, their families, or staff members by name. Okay, and board member Tiff is going to be the timekeeper. And we had one email came in. So let's go through those and I'll take that one towards the end. How's that sound? I'm gonna go with the first person that gave me a sheet was Vincent Joy. Come on up here and sit down. Is there a chair there for you?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome. State your name and your address. If you would.
My name is Bitsy Joy. I reside at 2342 Hallquist Avenue, up at the top of the hill. I am a graduate of Red Wing Public Schools, class of 1997, and a concerned citizen because I am deeply concerned about just the volume of things that the school board has to navigate at the moment. I did write an op-ed in the paper that I hope that all of you have read, and if you haven't, I ask that you read it. My main concern right now is that I don't want issues of racism in our schools to get eclipsed by issues of board membership on the school board. And so I really hope that it will be quickly resolved, that trying to figure out how to say this in an appropriate manner. I think it shows a deep lack of integrity to try to cover up malfeasance and still remains sitting on the school board. And especially in a time when we have a deep lack of trust in the community, given things that are happening with racism within the schools. I really don't want, so much of our energy being put to holding people accountable who should be holding themselves accountable. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to all speak up a little bit. I don't hear that well, especially with the air conditioning or whatever, the heat going here. So welcome, Vicki, and good evening. Please
Good
give your
evening.
name and, your address, please.
Vicki Lambert, 215 East 7th Street, Red Wing. Thank you. And don't worry, I have a big voice. I worked in the school district from the years 2000 to 2014. I worked as a person who taught students who were not welcome in the building. I worked with, did the summer school program. And I'm going to tell you a story and try to navigate my big feelings. One of the first days I was subbing in the school district, I walked into a classroom and the teacher was teaching and some girls were messing around. And I thought, oh, they're messing around. And the issue with the messing around was that the teacher wasn't really correcting anyone. And then one other girl got involved. This girl had different skin color than the other girls. The teacher targeted the girl immediately, kicked her out of the room, and she's like, what am I doing wrong? And there was an altercation in the classroom. That was in the year 2000. It's now 2024. It's deeply troubling to me to understand that the issues that continue to happen in the school are not recognized by the majority of humans that inhabit our building. And to say that there aren't issues or to hide behind privilege is unacceptable. I worked in correctional education following my time here in 2014. I worked in maximum security prisons until 3 years ago. I clearly understand the school to prison pipeline. I've seen it with my own eyes. The majority of my students who were not graduated from high school were Black and brown men because they were targeted. I feel really strongly that we can do better. And my faith drives me to be here as a person of great faith and somebody who's a leader in my particular worshiping community. I feel the need to be here and to say that we can do better. We must do better. I'm here to be part of the solution. I don't have all the answers. I've talked to Superintendent Joshik at length about this, and I want to be of service to this community. And I think that we need to start figuring this out. And I cannot hide behind my white privilege any longer. I will not. And I will not be a party to this, to be the example to the children, to tell them that there is a difference between them just because of how they look. That's absurd. We need to do better.
You. Marissa Wilson. Good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Chair, thank you. Marissa Wilson, 579 Spring Creek Road South in Red Wing. Board members and staff, thank you for allowing me the time here. On behalf of myself, a former winger, and my daughter, also a former winger gymnastics athlete, I'd like you to strongly consider keeping the Red Wing High School gymnastics team. My role as a parent is to advocate for the extracurricular activities that are important and meaningful to me and my family, and the athletes and the families that are here today. We've known that our gymnastics team has been challenged with 4 coaches in 5 years. Development of our athletes is important. As parents, we've been taking our athletes in the off season to locally TNT Gymnastics, Cats Gymnastics, and even as far away as Crossville, Tennessee to the Flip Fest Gymnastics camp. Development of a team also takes the development of coaches. It's important, and I ask that you work with parents, athletes, the community, and our AD to find a solution to keeping the Red Wing High School gymnastics team alive. Thank you.
You. I'll comment, the gymnastic program is on the agenda for later, so stick around. Okay. Silver. How do you say your last name? What was it?
Skazacek.
Thank you. Welcome, Silver. Please state your name and address, please.
Silver Skazacek, 518 Plum Street, Red Wing.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You gotta speak up a little bit. This thing, I'm hard to hear.
If you do nothing to change actively, the greatest predictor of the future is the past. As a former Red Wing student, I am here to speak my truth only because I believe that my experience behind these doors validates what Ms. Plank and other students have attested to. When I was 11, my principal at TBMS gave me 12 or 13 referrals in less than 1 school year and suspended me more than 3 times. She had me in ISS more times than I can even remember. She threatened my bus rides multiple times to the point that I never rode it, and I always walked home from Twin Bluff to Cobble Park at only 11. She took me out or refused my lunch multiple times. She pulled me out of class, searched my lockers, and harassed me for no reason. When my mother called her to enroll me from the school, she begged not to and asked over and over what she could do not to make me stay. Knowing what I know now and looking back, she regularly made me feel ashamed, singled out, weak, and utterly hopeless. Ultimately, my former principal was the sole reason why I left that school. I simply couldn't handle it. I don't think any 11 or 12-year-old could handle a full-grown adult picking at them every day. To this day, I don't know why she picked on me, and truthfully, I wasn't a bad child. I remember walking into school in the morning, and as soon as I walked in, she stopped me and looked me in my eyes, completely unprovoked, and said, "Do you like intimidating people? You intimidate me." Another time I asked her why I was being punished the way I was, and she responded, "Are you questioning my intelligence?" At 12, I didn't know what that meant, and I instantly felt bad. Being 21 has brought clarity to my eyes, making me uneasy now to know that only at 12 she saw me as such a threat and focused a lot of her unnecessary energy on such an undeserving child. I believe that what I went through pales in comparison to what one 9-year-old is experiencing right now in the same district where my adolescent trauma initially unfolded. My former principal seemed to enjoy what went on behind closed doors. From what I saw, she didn't care for the well-being of every student she claimed to love so deeply, only some. She struggled to find solutions to problems, eventually sweeping them under the rug. As respectfully as possible as her former student, it is my opinion that my former principal has made a calculated decision to move from middle school to elementary, and that reason was for more control. I'm not 12 anymore, and I have developed enough sense and maturity to now realize what was done to me was not right. In my opinion, Miss Grove is not fit to be a principal. Thank you.
Thank you. Amber Dawn Plank. Good evening, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Amber Don Plank, 103 East 5th Street, Red Wing, Minnesota. Welcome. This last weekend, I received a response from the Better Business Bureau regarding my formal complaint against First Student Bus Company, and my complaint was officially closed due to no response from the First Student Company at all. First Student is not Better Business accredited, and it gives them a literal grade of F. Out of 5 possible stars, the company currently boasts a mere 1.25 stars. The Better Business Bureau keeps the records for 3 years, and in the last 3 years, they have had 38 documented complaints against First Student. There has been 12 complaints in the last year alone. The vast majority of the complaints are all closed and then logged into the BBB website for 3 years because the company does not respond at all. The district is well aware of the problems and concerns around the bus company, and an article about it recently published in the local paper regarding the inability of the bus company that is employed by 256 to properly do its job. Knowing this, why is the district and the board or whoever is making these decisions comfortable with continuing to take the tax money from the citizens of Red Wing and the state and still choosing to employ this company, fully knowing and acknowledging that contractually they fall short on meeting their obligations? Respectfully, by now you have to have a better answer for us than we are working on it. Saying you're working on it doesn't save you from being negligent. At the last school board meeting, I asked for the board to support my daughter and all children who are facing racism in our public schools, because the nose on your face may be hard to see, but that does not mean that it is not there. I understand that no one responds to the public comment tonight. However, I'm requesting a formal written response from the Red Wing Public Schools to address my concerns. Will you honor my request of 256 to hire a qualified third-party company to come and interview all impacted students and produce a non-biased report of these findings? I ask that you address the bus company concerns. I want to know what policies you are currently trying to change that will directly benefit my child and other marginalized children in the district. I want to know why the district does not employ more people of color and what is being done to change that. I want to know if the district has any plans yet, if any, to make amends to my child and other affected children. And if I may, I would like to know which individual board members feel that racism is currently a problem and which do not believe it is an issue currently affecting our community. I feel like we have a right to know. I have a copy of these requests that I've just read in a letter to each of you, and I'd like to provide you each with your own copy before I sit down, if that's all right. Yomi Adegoke said, "Black girls will always be too loud for a world that never intended on listening to them." Now, you can let that apply to you guys if you want, but that could never be me. I want every child to know that I hear you, I see you, even if they don't. I beg the community to stand up and take a firm stance now. They can easily ignore me, and they've been effectively doing it for years, but they cannot ignore everyone. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Thank you. Can I give you guys the...
All right, let's see if I can read this one. Email Lieutenant Josh and I received from Lisa Marty. She lives, I believe, on Gymnastics Lane. Let's see where it starts here. School board members, I've sent below comment content to be read as part of public comments at a board meeting tonight. It was suggested I sent the board ahead of time to digest before your workshop. Please contact me if you have any questions. I'm a Red Wing resident, former assistant gymnastics coach of Red Wing program, former Red Wing High School gymnast class of 1988, and a current staff member of TNT Gymnastics. I'd like to share with the board some things I'm concerned with regarding the gymnastics recommendation. I apologize, I'll not be here in person, as I have election judge duties tonight. As a former assistant gymnastics coach, I'm writing to share my frustration with the recommendation to cut gymnastics this year, following our detailed concern. Recommendation states the cost per participant is high at $1,892. This is misleading. From what I can tell, this number includes rent to TNT Gymnastics. My concern is the rent is assessed to gymnasts, while other sports are not assessed in a similar way. Are hockey, baseball, football, soccer, and other athletes assessed for the cost of the hockey arena ball fields, track and or football fields, and gym upkeep. In addition, these athletic venues are all used by youth and programs that benefit from the school district ownership and investment, while the gymnastic venue is funded and supported by the community level participation. The small amount of rent paid by the district to TNT annually is nothing compared to the immense cost the school takes on to support other athletic venues and programs. 2024 numbers are low, 10 last year, 4 this year. This number was given with no context and appears to appear, it makes it appear the program is on a downward trend. This is not true. Numbers at the union level are the highest they've been, and almost 300 students currently enrolled at TNT. Each young athletes look up to and admire the high school athletes and dream of competing with the big girls someday. The drop in numbers in the high school program last year includes injured athletes, approximately some gymnastics related, some not, that are not being forced to make a choice not to participate, but would if they could. Head coach and assistant resigned October 10th due to coaching vacancies. The concern is, are you solving a coaching vacancy with program elimination, or is it just 1 year of cancellation? Extremely frustrated on this point. I resigned as assistant last March and hoped you would actively identify a replacement who might invigorate the program with fresh ideas and an interest in taking on the team long-term. I understand that the number of coaches is potentially more than needed. I think the current coaching staff would have worked with you to mitigate that if a fresh face had been found. However, there was no effort made to find a coach to the late resignation of 2 staff members. I'm not going to make. Making this recommendation 1 week before the season starts and adding it to the agenda on Friday with 3 days to react, big blindside to the athletes that have hoped to compete with the Red Wing gymnastic community. You have given them no time to respond with suggestions or options. They are fresh. Thank you for taking the time to listen and consider alternatives to eliminating the gymnastic program. So that's what we're talking about that tonight. So you want to, Stacy? Okay, you'll be up there a little bit. I'm going to go then with Kylie Lindholm. Welcome. Please state your name and address.
Kylie Lindholm, 820 Tile Drive,
Welcome,
Red Wing.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, school board members. My name is Kylie Lindholm, and I'm a longtime supporter of the Red Wing High School Gymnastics program and the owner of TNT Gymnastics. I appreciate all of you who spoke this evening, and those of you who are not able to attend but still sent our school board your thoughts. Your support for our youth and community is admirable. I learned last night of the recommendation to eliminate the gymnastics program. If the discussion to cut the program is due to cost-saving measures for a district that is struggling, TNT will forgo the entire amount of rent you are expected to pay for this season. These young women are future gymnasts, and our community deserve the opportunity to compete in the sport of gymnastics at a high school level. I only ask that going forward, you put in as much effort into sustaining the future of the gymnastics program as you do to the other high school sports. I humbly ask that you reconsider your recommendation to cut the Red Wing High School Gymnastics program. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Stacy, you're right. I think that's what I say, right?
DeVries, yeah.
DeVries, yeah. I remember the name. The last name, not Stacy. I don't know you. Do I?
I have no idea.
Welcome. State your name and address, please.
Stacy DeVries, 774 Plum Street.
Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. So my concern here stems from when I was in school, right? With the racism and everything within this public school district and the community all as a whole. When I was I was like 16 years old. My daughter's father tried to come to high school here, and he spent his first day here. And on the second day, he was walked out by the principal of the school because he is a larger Black male, and he was told that the teachers and himself were intimidated by him, so he was denied education here. And now I'm 44, so that just tells you how far back this goes.
that I know of, and growing up in it. And my daughter, I raised my daughter here, and she is a biracial child. She's a Black child, and she went through a lot through the public school district. In the first day of second grade, when we had just moved back to Red Wing, I was my first day out at a BIC here in town, and they had lost her busing information to bring her home. And they made her walk. And in order for her to find her way to where she was supposed to be going, she stopped and talked to a crossing guard. The crossing guard then helped her, said, you got to walk down this way and you go so far. Obviously, it was first day of school. She's in a dress, nice shoes. By the time she got to my friend's house, which was from Sunnyside all the way to Plum Street or Bush Street, she would no longer had shoes on. Her tights were ripped because obviously she was walking barefoot because her feet hurt. When I contacted the school, they told me that I went there for a meeting, and they told me that they were fortunate that I was the only call that they had received that year. Which to me, my second grader, obviously they're little, we had just moved here. She didn't know where she was going. To me, being fortunate that this little girl, I was the only one that called, fortunate is something that was beyond me because my daughter's life was at risk at that point. Anything could have happened to my kid. She could have wandered Red Wing forever. It took her 2 hours to find her way to my friend's house. And it's still happening. I have 2 grandkids that are going to go to school here, and it's like it seems to continue to go on. Nothing is ever happening. Everybody says we're going to address it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Nothing ever happens. It's all blowing smoke until we're quiet again, until something happens to another child. Now you're looking at Amber's baby, who's 9 years old, that's talking about how she doesn't want to live anymore. That's really hard on our children, it's obviously it's hard on us adults, but it is really hard on these babies. When you look in the mirror and you don't want to be that skin color anymore because of your, where you go to school and the people around you are teasing you. Me being white, I don't have that problem. I can blend into society anywhere I go. These kids are just trying to get an education. They're just trying to have friends. And without anybody's help within the school district, they don't want to go here. They feel like misfits. And I know that because it's been spoken to me for years with my own daughter, with my friends, with my family. To me, that's not right. And until somebody does something, you're going to continue to see our faces within the school district. You're going to continue to see our faces at city council meetings. You're going to continue to watch us sit here and fight for our kids and advocate for our kids just like you would if it was your child. Because our kids should be just as safe in y'all's hands when we bring them to school or they come on a bus, no matter how they get here. They should be treated like they are your children. And as safe as they are at home with us, they should feel just as safe with y'all. And if that's not happening, there's still a continued problem that needs to be addressed. No kid should ever feel like that. Ever. Thank you.
Lacey, you put the phone number on here?
Oh, and put the pen.
Contact you, 'cause
Yeah.
He's been working on some of this. That's a conversation with other people. Thank you. The time of the day to call. This evening, afternoon, morning. Yes. I don't have anybody else here for public comment. Thank you.
What if you,
Why don't you fill out the paper?
can I fill it out after? Give it to you?
We'll get it filled up while you're setting it. Yes.
I know we have a policy to not respond in a moment, but I would just really like to request that we have put on our next workshop agenda to discuss how we can support our students, our families, our staff, with racism in our schools, in our communities. We as a board need to talk about what we can do. I know we've had discussions about what our staff is doing, And they are working on it, but we need to talk as a board about what our responsibility is and what we can do.
I think we can, Mr. Josh is working on that. I know it's tough terms that to use, but we can deal with what's going on. We can't deal with something that's 15, 20 years before.
But
we
we
need
as
to
a
learn from it.
board can talk about our responsibility and what we can do. What policies can we talk about? What can we do in the community as representatives to support our students and our families? We can have that discussion. We can get an update on what is happening within our buildings.
Something going on, we need specifics to what that rule was or whatever. So. Michael. There's no more forms up there? You just grab them? I didn't see it. Go have a seat.
Yeah, they've been gone.
Good evening, Michael. Please state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael J. Lickness Holmes. I live in Wards 3-4, South Park neighborhood. I wasn't expecting to talk. I mainly came here in support, but listening to everybody, I feel like we really gotta do something. 30 years ago, I went through the same thing. I was kicked out of school. I had a kid my freshman year in high school, and I missed some time of school because I'm trying to navigate being a father. They told me that my responsibilities as a father and my responsibilities as a student are different, and that I wouldn't be able to attend Red Wing High School. But then there was other people, didn't look like me. The tones were a tad lighter than mine. Same situation. They got all the support. They got all the help that they didn't even ask for. And all I'm asking, is we have to show our community, not just all the community, the whole community of Red Wing, that we support them. Because right now there's a large demographic of people that feel like they're not being supported. 7 years ago, when I moved back to town, my wife was like, "Why you want to come back to Red Wing after all the stuff you went through?" I said, "Because my job's not finished." And then at the end of the day, I sat there and thought about it. If you love your job so much, it's not really a job. It's just something you do, something you want to do. And what I want to do is give our children some proper representation. I think that's something maybe the school board can look into, is because I've seen how the kids react when somebody is similar to them in different aspects. Their reactions, how they elevate, how they're excited to go to school. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys giving me a moment, this last moment to speak. And I just hope we ain't going to have a reoccurrence of 30 years plus. It's time to nip it in the bud. These kids, they react off of us as adults. They see us not getting along, not doing what is proper. Then what do you guys expect? How do you guys expect them to react? So thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. Release the superintendent. Thank you. Administrative reports. So the admin reports, a lot of this is things that are taking place here in October. So that sunny side, fire department that was altered, fire safety, kids and stuff like that. The ball play that was formed by the high school kids, cheese him, barely failed. Kids loved it. Burnside, third grade students for a field trip to the apple orchard, fourth graders went to the zoo. We provided the Red Wing Schools Foundation and the Innovative Leadership Fund. And also there was the Water State Dance in Milwaukee, had a full school dance assembly on the 22nd. We also did some things with students who are special needs kids, IEPs. Sounds like it was a very, very good program. Burnside has been utilizing it time, what I need now, 30-minute intervention blocks for reading for a couple of years now. This year, they've spread it out, so they're going more throughout targeted skill groups than just everybody in one class. So the kids base a little bit more on their ability, so it does allow them a little more specific instruction. In Lovedale, the dance on October 11th, they had 330 kids. Pretty substantial there. Had a good time there. Hispanic information night at Twin Bluff, outreach. There was a pretty large number of families there that night. Also, then flu and COVID shot clinic, student dental clinic, and hearing and vision screenings over the last few years. At Power View, some of this is kind of dovetailed off some of the other stuff. Jeremy Messersmith was at Power View on the 20th, coordinated the Sheldon Theater Outreach Program. Had some original music, talked to kids about how their career started. And the 14th, the Anderson Center Resident Arts worked with students who are currently taking art. So, quite a number of things have been going on. Thank you. Committee reports, committee updates. Have something to show about?
I think we'll talk about it later with the
Okay.
It's an LMC update.
On the well work for the
Yeah.
clinic? Okay. Anybody else have any, yes?
For negotiations, Superintendent Josh will be working with the principals to get some area information, and then we'll reconvene.
Okay. Anybody else have any other committees?
I was at the DEI, but we talked about the racist issue, so I was pretty whipped up in the moment where I didn't take any notes, but luckily Emily did a wonderful job of doing that. But she also said that she gave the notes to Bob, so I'm gonna refer to Bob of the notes.
So
update.
on that, I don't have the specific notes, but within that, so we talked about a number of pieces there. Initially, what we were talking about is an equity statement that would end up covering needs of all families, all kids. And given the current state of racial tensions that are involved with things with school, we just decided that right now is not the appropriate time to be coming out with that statement until some of these other issues can be addressed. So that was kind of it in a nutshell.
And we discussed that we're gonna meet every month now. We're gonna try and get some more recruits of staff. And I wasn't given a clear answer on whether students can attend that or not, but in the meantime, Bob, myself, and Tremaine, we have as the DEI consultant, and can I say Emily, and then can I say the other?
Maybe not.
Okay, we have another ethnic representation consultant at the table, and myself, and we're gonna be kind of hammering out our first meeting is on the 7th, hammering out some long-term things that the district can do to help walk through and navigate through this. This is something that the district has never done before. Nobody's ever done, because if they would have done it, then we would have had a guide to how to navigate through this. But we'll get through it because we're a community. And we have no other choice to get through it. Because in my eyes, humanity kind of depends on it. So we are working on it. It's just hard when it comes to laws and policies to address things in an emergent manner, especially things that have historically been like this. There's been no, where can I go to get help?
Because if it was, I wouldn't be sitting at this table. I chose to show up because this isn't just a white problem. This is a diverse problem. So I do hope that if you want to show up to the table, that you join the DEI committee meeting, so that way we can work together as a community and not just a district to reach out to our people who if this means something. It has to mean something to us. So that's my update from the DEI.
Refresh that memory with the people listening out there what DEI stands for.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you. Anybody else have a committee meeting? This Tiff and I had a meeting on Jefferson School Building, Superintendent Joshik, and we just kind of a first initial meeting was with the city about what we could do together on the building, getting the neighborhood involved as to get them and approach them as to what they're looking at, the green space, what we do with the building, with everything kind of going on. It's already November. The school board gonna have some new members, the city council's gonna have some new members, a new member or up to 3 and a new mayor. It's, we're gonna meet again in December. They're gonna go back and talk to some city staffers and bring back some information. We're gonna keep the ball rolling, but really don't think much will be really get going, get their feet on the ground running with it until February when they have their annual workshop, new council. So, is there anything else I'm missing out on that? We're meeting in the first Wednesday of December.
Second Wednesday, December 11th.
December 11th, second Wednesday at 3:30. So I won't have anything more on it until the second meeting in December. So, we're going to get to Bill in a minute here. So we're going to do a consent agenda first. Anybody have anything they wish, or any other committee reports before I move on? Okay, consent agenda. There's 7 items on the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to have anything pulled for further discussion?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Ms. Tiff, is there a second? Second by Ms. Bjornstead. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll do donation and grants and get right to you then. Donations and grants. Superintendent Joshik, you got that in front of you?
So there was a large donation from 3M in the amount of $33,892. That went, came in the form of district-wide general classroom supplies. So that was distributed throughout the system. And then in addition to that, we have a $3,000 donation from someone who's anonymous, the Aim and Achieve Adults with Disabilities Program.
Two very generous donations. So, for a motion to approve the resolution as presented. So moved by Ms. Bjornstead, is there a second by Ms. Rowe? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Rowe?
Aye.
Ms. Ossendorf?
Aye.
Ms. Buck?
Aye.
Ms. Bjornstead?
Aye.
Ms. Tiff?
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much. We're gonna go back to our student and school showcase. Mr. Bill Emery, welcome to your staff. Students, excuse me. You're all dressed up and looking nice like that. I like it. We all were excited to hear how your trip went.
Okay. Hello, Red Wing School Board. I am Samantha Langhans, the reporter for the Red Wing FFA. I am pleased to be here along with Aiden Jason, the Vice President of our FFA, and Jacob McCoy, the Secretary of the Red Wing FFA. Unfortunately, our President Nolan Berghammer and our Treasurer Kendra Sutherland cannot join us tonight because they have conflicting work schedules, and our Sentinel Garrett Pearson came down with an illness and will not be able to join us. Us three officers that are here with you tonight are grateful that we get the chance to meet with you all. First, we will discuss our officer training trip to Jag Lake, Wisconsin. This trip happened from August 1st to August 4th. On this trip, we learned the skills to become an FFA officer and the skills that we need to work as a team. I can say we all enjoyed this trip as we got to swim, fish, cook, and learn all in one place. All of these things have made us a better officer team. Doing a training like this one for us was crucial so we could set goals for the year and come up with activities for new members. We also have an officer meeting nearly every week. This week, we have a leadership workshop that we will be hosting. This is open to other chapters and our FFA members. 4 of us seniors got the privilege to attend the FFA National Convention. The seniors include Aiden Jason, Aiden Miller, Kendra Sutherland, and myself. We went with the Ellsworth chapter on a bus with a few more chapters from Wisconsin. I can say we all made new friends and had a lot of fun. This took place from October 22nd to the 26th in Indianapolis, Indiana. We went to workshops, talked to colleges, and other programs that we may be interested in. We also went to many sessions. On the way down to the convention, we got to tour the Hummel family farm where they have a goat operation and they breed Savannah cats with domesticated cats. We got to listen to Dr. Temple Grandin, and we even got to watch the National Talent Show. This trip has opened many more doors for us seniors. We saw opportunities that we haven't seen before and things we were able to bring back to the chapter. As a reporter, I have posted after every activity that we have done as a chapter. I post updates as soon as we are done with any activity, like our balloon setting that we had raised money for the National Convention, and any updates after the National Convention and anything we did there. A lot of posts happen on our Instagram, which most people see, and especially most of our members see, because not many of our members go on Facebook. We also have a TikTok. It is very fun to make TikToks, especially because we made 2 at the National Convention, and one of them actually blew up, so it was pretty fun. And yeah, we also got to participate in a CDE at UW River Falls on October 11th with our dairy, horse, and general livestock judging teams. It was definitely a learning experience for all 3 of our teams, but I can say we left the competition very confident in what we can do and what we can learn from it. So if you guys have things to talk about.
You guys want to say something? Introduce yourselves again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello, school board. My name is Jacob McCoy. I'm the Red Wing FFA secretary. I have been to the officer training that we do up at Yegg Lake, northern Wisconsin, by the way, for 2 times now. Each time I've enjoyed my trip up there. From Yegg Lake, I've learned my leadership skills and my organization skills and my teamwork and effort skills. Over the past 2 years, being in the role of secretary, I have pretty much had like the most stressful times of my life and some of the greatest moments of my life, which is actually kind of fun too. And overall, the responsibility that I've taken from these is probably the best I've ever had. Because like now I get to be in front of y'all and talk about this. This is like really, really special to me. For membership wise, during the restoration of FFA, it was just originally 3 people, me, Nolan, and Kendra. And that was all we had for the beginning. We couldn't have done it without Bill, William Emery. That was really nice of him to help us out and like restore it. And throughout the rebuilding of it, we have maintained about 15 members average now. And we are currently at the peak of 22 paid members. And we've had taken them to leadership workshops and member nights. We have a leadership workshop coming up currently right now for our members and other members if they want to join. Another thing that we do is fundraisers. The most recent one that we did was a horseback riding competition where we set balloons for cowboys that would ride by and shoot them. And then another thing that we did was the fruit sale. All of our members like to participate in that usually. How much did we reach this year?
5,000 last year. I don't know what we had this year.
I think it was like close to 7K this year. I don't know. But throughout the total, we made 12 grand from fruit sales and member activities that we usually end up doing. are the World Toughest Rodeo. We went to that this year on February 7th, I believe. That was a very fun trip. Then another thing that we did last year was paintball. We went to vintage paintball grounds up in Hudson, I believe. And then for another thing that we do here for school activities for members and other things is pumpkin carving and then some CDEs and agricultural experience throughout the classroom.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Jason. I'm the vice president, and I would say that I'm the closest with the FFA alumni, and we meet every 3 months down at the Hay Creek Saloon, and we just talk about what we can do to support this FFA chapter and growing, and they help us a lot with that. And I had the opportunity to work with Les Anderson this fall for the corn drive, where we went around and collected corn from the producers in the area, and we raised around $3,000 doing that.
So what's the money going towards?
I think we're splitting it 50-50.
Scholarships for the FFA and to the corn drive, or to the Camp Courage.
Yeah. So half of it's going to the scholarship for the FFA, and the other half is going to Camp Courage, which is a summer camp for people with mental disabilities.
My end of it was really, I wanted to come talk to you guys because these guys are doing amazing stuff, right? Going from 3 to now we have 30 kids coming to meetings every week, 22 paid, but we're working on the rest of them. And wanted to talk about the training that they went through. And I know that you guys get together and do a little training yourselves in terms of leadership. And a lot of the same things that you guys are doing are what we're doing. We're trying to battle, as Gallup poll says, the active, people that are actively trying to break down the organization. We're training to get them more involved. So, and trying to get these guys more involved in it. And so the officer training is to set goals for the year. I was going to show you this too, but we're running out of time. You can hold it up. The workshop this Thursday is for not just FFA, but I've invited all the clubs and organizations in the school. We've got people from the sustainability club, the tennis team, the softball team, soccer. We got everybody coming in that wants to come. And it's our first time through it. We call it Teams for Teens because we want kids to learn stuff like how to deal with arguments or diversity, as you were talking before. I've got a portion on that. So how do we deal with all those things, the conflicts that, or goal setting that teams, whether it's sports or non-sports, deal with. So we're excited about the growing chapter. We're excited about what we can offer the school. And thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. We heard about the trip. Superintendent there just, I think, the day or two before you left, the day before. I left the next morning. But I happen to know less, and I talked to him last year or two ago on this whole subject. And, he's a big supporter of the local FFA.
Yeah.
And good guy to have in your corner. So everybody listening out there or sitting in the audience, we hear a number of things that may not be going the way they should be in the school, but there are a lot of great things going on, good things going on in our school every day. And we just got to build on some other things, but let's not forget about the ones that are doing well, enjoying themselves, learning, and build on those as well. And this is a really good school. Everybody has things to work on. We do every day in our life, whether it's work, it's personal, it's wherever. But together we can get something accomplished, and you show it by these young people right here. So I'd like you to stick around and we can take a picture of all of us together. And you got something to say? I can't believe that.
I know, shocking. I have a question. I want to know what your Instagram handle is so I can follow.
Let me pull it up real quick so I can give it to you
No phones
correctly.
in school.
Can you see it? Okay. It is just all lowercase, Red Wing F. So it's Red Wing _ FFA, and it's all lowercase. So. And we'll be doing.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Go ahead. It's fine.
And what are the requirements to be a part of that?
Show up and have fun.
Yeah, really.
You don't have to be a farmer?
Nope.
No,
Nothing.
I'm not even a farmer. I'm taking a nursing course and going to work at the hospital next year.
I lived in town in high school.
I have a horse.
Yeah.
I don't do anything with cattle or general livestock or anything like that. I have a horse. So I think it's pretty diverse of what kids we have. I think we also have a bunch of 8th graders that really are like, what's FFA? And, and we get to do a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we went to the state convention last April. That was a lot of fun. And just a diverse group of kids too. And it helps when we offer popcorn too. So.
Oh, and the bunnies, my bring.
And the bunnies.
Yeah.
I grew my own popcorn. Can I make a donation for you?
Of course, yes.
I can fund your popcorn.
Perfect. Anything helps.
All right, let's go out and get a picture of it. Come on up. Who's gonna take the picture, Paul? That'll be me.
Falling forward.
Don't want your finger in the way, right? Come on over here. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Can you also take it on my phone so I can put it on our Instagram? Thank you.
Two?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take 2.
I'm blending.
This is a vertical challenge, so she's.
Me? Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Send it to Ann Kelsey.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Yes,
I'm glad
thank you.
enjoyed. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
That's very nice. Bill, thank you. Thank you. Where am I getting back in? Curl the table. Okay, we'll move on to finance update. Ms. Ryder, good evening.
Good evening.
We all want you to hear this, that's fine.
All right, so let me get this shared so people can see what we're talking about. We will start with the finance update that is for waiting for it to show up. I'm not seeing it yet. Can you see it? Yes? Okay. Okay. So this is taking the month of July, for example, and identifying, can't seem to make it move though. Showing the month of July for general fund, food service, and community education fund, and comparing the actual amounts compared to the budget, and not just for 25, which is our current school year on the far right, but also comparing that then to 24 and 23, just for the month of July in each of those years. Subsequently, on the bottom of this page is the, I think if I have to, maybe I go here. This might be what I need to do. There you go. Then you can see August as well. So this is the format we've talked about in the past. It basically just allows you to see, for example, at this point in time, we have 9.15% of our revenues that are budgeted for the 25 year, and how did that compare at the same time 2 years ago in each of those years. Similar for the expenditures, and then food service and community education, both revenue and expenditures. So I would entertain any questions you may have on this, or if you have questions that come up outside of the board meeting, always feel free to contact me.
Any questions? I like this way it is.
Okay.
right, then I will then move, if that's okay, to the next topic, which is on the permanent transfer. When a school district needs to close out a fund, which is what we call it, and that's how we record our revenues and expenditures for various different purposes. Sometimes there's a separate and unique fund. And that is the case when we sold our OPEB bonds, OPEB standing for Other Post-Employment Benefits. We sold them back in 2009, and the payments for those bonds were done and complete in 2019. Since that point in time, that fund has been sitting with just interest accruing, and it just the cash and the fund balance, no activity necessarily. So then what we want to see happen now is we're going to close that fund out through a permanent fund transfer, which requires board approval. With that happening, moving it over to the debt fund 7, and essentially then that just then becomes part of that fund balance. And the impact in the future will be that you will find that it will create excess fund or excess debt calculation with the levy process, which in essence means because you have these funds now moved into the debt fund, you may not necessarily need to levy as much of the taxpayers as we move forward, because you have these funds to help pay for that principal and interest. And it's a calculation done on an annual basis through the levy process. But the first step is board approval for the permanent fund transfer. And then it'll take a couple of years for this to all work through the system and to actually have everything cleared off and be kind of past that point, but it's a first step.
I'll entertain a motion and we can have discussion after that. All right, recommendation to approve the permanent fund transfer of Fund 47 to Fund 07 effective with the fiscal year 24 audit process. Moved by Ms. Tiff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Osendorf, over that one. Discussion. Yes.
I just wanted to say we had a full discussion at our workshop where you fully explained this prior. So if we don't have a huge discussion now, it's because we've already learned about this and are in full support of that.
Right. No question. Good thing to do. Hearing nothing else, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Gymnastics program. Josh. Start. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
As mentioned with the previous agenda item, it was discussed at length, and we had a very, I felt, fruitful and healthy conversation in our workshop. At 5 o'clock, you have the sort of the bullet points in front of you. As we identified during the workshop, we're in a tough spot this year with numbers. We just are. The numbers are what they are. This has changed a little bit. As I mentioned, at about 4:50 before going to the workshop meeting, we were at 5 registered participants, which is up from the 4 that is listed here. We heard from some people in public comments, and one of the public comments individuals that you had read, I had a very good conversation with her this afternoon. So it has changed a little bit. We need a head coach. We need a head coach. As we discussed at the workshop, that head coach needs to be licensed through the Minnesota State High School League. That process can take place quickly, but it needs to take place. And I appreciate and empathize with the emotions that I've heard not only in public comment tonight, but in my conversations and dialogue with community members over the past 48 to 72 hours. So I'm not sure how much we want to repeat from the workshop, but I'll just leave it to the board to discuss, and I can answer any questions.
I think Ms. Osendorf brought up trying to get more members to through the club programs, taking and stretching it out to the, who was it? Was this show held to the 15th of November? That was you.
Oh, yeah, well.
Before, see if we can come up with more numbers or a head coach. And we heard from Ms. Lynn Holm, the owner of TNT, about the financial piece that we were shown in the notes here. Something that we should have a dialogue with with her instead of just a verbal one-on-one. You don't have a sit down and do a very nice gesture. Very nice, so appreciate that. So, go ahead.
In a nutshell, the issues that we have, certainly we have a whole number of participants. Probably a bigger issue is that we need to find a coach. That's the bottom line, most important thing. In visiting with people during the workshop time, if we can find a coach that's qualified, that's able to keep our kids safe so they can compete, then we would absolutely like to have the gymnastics program continue this year. But that's kind of the crux of the matter, because that's really where a lot of this ends up being thrown. According to Mr. Hartman, we've got pretty good numbers of kids who are involved in the gymnastic program as younger kids. The decision ultimately, if this were to initially, the way it was proposed, we would pause the program for a year and see where we're at. Based upon the discussions that we had in the workshop, it's the will of the board to do everything we can to see to it that we can still maintain and have a season this year. But it's going to come down to all of us working to see if we can find somebody who can be a qualified, satisfactory coach. So right now we're in the solution-seeking stage. We've got to get some answers. I understand practice is supposed to begin on Monday. It was thought by Mr. Hartman that we could begin practices with the assistant coaches that we have in place until we get somebody up to speed through there. So right now, we got a little bit of time, just a little bit of time. So we'll be, at this point, we can't figure out something for a coach. We'll be reviewing this again here in a couple of weeks. Is that an accurate?
Pretty much summarizes it. It's, and it's, whoever, if there is somebody out there that shows an interest in head coach, get hold of Mr. Hartman immediately.
Love to talk to him.
But, you know, we have the problem, but Mr. Johnson said, we're all trying to find a solution together. We know what the problem is, let's find a solution, and we're willing to work with people to find that solution.
It should be noted too, the assistant coach comment, there haven't been any assistant coaches approved by the board tonight. So if we do begin practice on the 11th, we would take them through a volunteer background screening to potentially work with our students that first week of practice, the 11th, and then potentially board approving at the following meeting.
So there weren't any assistant coaches on this
No.
list? But there are.
Well, there's been past assistant coaches that we might talk to about volunteering after tonight's meeting for a week or two. There's been an influx of community members out showing support. We're going to talk, the process will start tomorrow. And just so the board knows, I think you understand and know this, but we typically will have the head coach and then we'll hire assistants after that, just so, because they're in that process with me and hiring those assistants. So we might have to go a little backwards in this situation, with the end goal of getting team ready to go on the 11th with any trusted adults that know gymnastics and love to work with kids.
And is there a possibility of having somebody, if we can find somebody willing to step into the gap now and continue to look for
Like an interim head coach?
Yes. Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility. We've never done it. That's not to say that we can't do it.
Right.
Even that
would
interim,
entice somebody.
even that interim head coach would need that license
Right.
for our own liability purposes. But yes, I think
Maybe someone's ready to come out of it, not me, I'm not an athlete, I'm an artiste. But maybe there's someone knowing that there's a timeline on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Some passion. Right.
Agreed.
As our previous head coach, have you connected with that person to see if they would maybe have any interest in filling like as an interim until another?
I have not. I plan to tomorrow after
They
this
would still
meeting.
hold that license
Yep.
necessary?
And can you share what is needed for a license so that anybody watching?
Yeah, it's It's an online course through the Minnesota State High School League. It's about an 8-hour Zoom. Sometimes they're in person, and then it's just some outside training hours, which can be done after the online course. So all in all, it can go pretty quick, but you're talking about a 12 to 15 hour commitment to get that license. And through the graceful donations of our booster club over the years, they have paid for that course. It's about $250.
Anybody else have any other comment?
I just
Yes.
want to say that I think we had a very robust conversation about this prior to this meeting tonight in our workshop. And I'll just speak for myself, but I know my fellow board members agree with me that, we don't want to close any program ever. And so we're going to do some creative problem solving and hopefully all work together to maintain the love of a activity and a sport that we know that you are very dedicated to. So I hope that we can all come together and keep us going. Because I am not in favor of closing down the gymnastics program at all. So I think, thank you for your very generous offer. This is already budgeted for, so I'm not so concerned. I mean, it's a lovely donation that we would definitely love to have. It's already budgeted for, and the biggest issue is making sure that you have a safe experience by finding you a coach. So hopefully with this plea, we'll be able to get somebody for you.
I think the other thing we talked about, we didn't mention is, we'd love to have more participants too.
Mm-hmm.
People in the club, or people out there listening, they know if they want to get into gymnastics. We'd love to have more participants, so you make friendships, you build competition within, you get to go see other schools, you get to compete against other people. It's a team event is, in my eyes, a rewarding event, and the more you have it, the better the group is.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's other people out there listening, thinking about wanting to do gymnastics. I'm past my prime, so I can't do it. But I think there's really an opportunity for somebody to learn a little bit more gymnastics and be part of a good event, good team. So what? Go ahead. We should do something here with this. It's on the table for action. We should motion to bring it back to our next meeting then, probably? Or what do you think?
At this point, I don't know that any action would be required to be taken because you're not changing the status quo or anything. I mean, the program's already in place, but that we will need to examine this again in a couple of weeks to see where we're at.
We could always just table the gymnastic program to the next meeting. That way we should know it's on the agenda too.
We can just put it on the agenda again.
Let's do that, then that way we don't have to worry about table motion, right? So, anybody else have anything further, Mr. Hartman?
No, I just echo what Pam said. Like, we sat here in the spring with the budget cuts, and my goal is to not cut any programs. So I appreciate the passion of all of our athletes and all of our programs, and I'm hoping we can find a solution.
I think the word you use, passion, and the other meeting too. Passion. So we're working together, we hope we can get better.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hearing nothing, we'll move on to the next item. You're all welcome to stay. Don't want to leave.
Go and try and find a coach.
Their site clinic alternative provider for 2025. Julia, how are you?
Good. Good evening. So I'm here bringing about 3 recommendations from the LMC, the Labor Management Committee. We've done some extensive research and had lots of meetings to try and come back with the most appropriate recommendations for our employees and for the district. And so there's 3 recommendations. One is to approve the ending of services with Health Partners While at Work Clinic as of 12/31/2024. The second is the ending of the lease with Rise Up as of 12/31/2024. And then third is to approve Cavera Health as the district's additional healthcare provider beginning January 1, 2025. So some background information. Health Partners While at Work Clinic opened in June of 2013 with the goals in mind of providing providing healthcare for our district employees at no cost, to reduce insurance premium increases, and they wanted to have a clinic that was at least an 80% capacity. So currently, the contract with Health Partners While at Work ends on 12/31/2024, and so that's why the LMC has been working so hard and looking at the options and if it's a viable option. Currently, Health Partners has proposed a 5% cost increase for 2025. Additionally, they're having trouble staffing the clinic and providing hours that work well for our employees. And then also the usage rate, I only have for the past 2 years available on my end, but for the last 2 years, the usage rate has been sitting at about 45%, and that's for both the district and the city of Red Wing, who shares the clinic with us. The lease is with Rise Up, and it is set to end June 30th, 2025. However, they've spoken with our superintendent and have agreed with a 30-day notice. They would be willing to end our lease early. And then Kavira Health is the option that we are recommending. We looked at other options. This is a virtual option that's available 7 days a week with a home and work option as well. So an on-site visit option that both employees and their families can participate in. It's more extensive hours that our employees can utilize. They can get a virtual appointment within 10 minutes, and home and work visits are available to them on an average turnaround time of 4 hours. I have more I can go into, but I don't know how extensive you want me to go into.
Let Ms. Schoenfelder know she was involved.
Yes.
Talk about the C's standpoint.
This was a good discussion with all of our bargaining groups really present. And I think from everyone's perspective, there's benefit. So the members who have healthcare services through our district will have better access to healthcare at hours that are more convenient to them. They will have an increase in what kind of services they can access, specifically mental health care. From a district budget standpoint, this is a huge cost savings. This is saving our district well over $200,000. Going forward, to maintain our contract with Health Partners was going to cost even more than that proposed savings. So we are actually saving even more than that $200,000 because their increased costs to continue providing care for us were pretty significant. So all of our bargaining groups are very excited to move to this. I think from a board perspective, a fiscal perspective, this is the right move. And like I said, saves us a lot of money in our budget.
So as I stated, everybody was present. It was a unanimous decision to make this recommendation. Anytime you have a change in provider, and especially a change significant in format, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. This is not going to be a bump-free ride at first, but I do believe that using this model is going to be something that's going to benefit all of our employees in our system. So it's my recommendation that you follow Kelsey's three things that three separate motions. Thank you. Any other questions?
How long would the contract be with that new provider?
So we've talked about doing a 1-year contract to start and see how it goes. And I will just mention that they did say that if there was a decision tonight, they would be able to start January 1. There was discussion that, maybe a later start would be needed, but Kavira Health is fully on board. They have staff just outside of the 1-hour border that they like them to be able to travel. But the plan is as soon as they have a decision then from us, then they would start recruiting 2 providers for the Red Wing area specifically. And this contract, I also want to note, would be separate from the city of Red Wing. The city of Red Wing was fully a part of the LMC meetings and the decision that was made. They were able to give their input at meetings and can go with Kavira Health if they wish, but they don't have to. That would be their own decision, their own contract. It didn't change pricing for them or for us.
I got a question. Is there any penalty for, or is it, or is the health partners Wellbrook Clinic, was that going to expire on the 31st of December 2024? We had not signed the new agreement with.
Correct.
We're afraid, clearly.
Yep.
Rise Up and the Kavira Health sound very interesting. All right, we have any other questions? Hearing none, is there a recommendation is to, okay,
I was just gonna make a motion.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion the first motion to end the agreement with Health Partners Wellbrook Clinic effective December 31st, 2024.
Motion by Ms. Schoenfelder, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Bjornstedt, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let's make motion on number B.
I'll make a motion to end the building lease with Rise Up effective December 31st, 2024.
Motion by Ms. Roll, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Buck, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Recommendation C.
I will make that motion to accept the quote from Kavira Health effective January 1st, 2025.
Motion by Ms. Stiff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ossendorf. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's a big step. No, we did that on the consent.
Okay. We have to do it separate.
Volunteer bus monitor.
So when we had our meeting here, the DEI meeting here last week, one of the things that we had talked about a little bit was the possibility of having some volunteer bus monitors to help, just help kids on the bus, help them to behave themselves, help them to use better language and end up in a safer environment for students on the bus. We do not have budget for bus monitors on all of our buses. We have monitors on buses that students with disabilities have, so that's already part of it. So what was decided was, our recommendation was that we have a volunteer bus monitor program. So with that, what an individual can do if they wish to be a volunteer bus monitor is they can sign up with community ed. They would have to be submitted to a background check. And then in addition to that, we would interview to make sure there aren't any red flags that are exhibited somewhere, because there's always other factors besides simply a background check. And then there would be some training that would have to be involved. Basically, they would end up going through just what the expectations are, what that would look like, and then we would go forward from there. And then all of that would have to be done prior to being allowed to ride on the bus. So because this is something that is new, I wanted to run this by the entire board before I went charging ahead. So the document is in the board book there, so if you have any questions, my recommendation that we approve this volunteer bus monitor program, so we get started on this relatively quickly. Okay. Yes, Ms. Tipp.
I just want to say I really appreciate the job description and having that all laid out as to what the responsibilities are and qualifications, everything. That's really helpful.
Representing our district. You want to make a motion?
Sure. I will make a motion to approve using volunteer bus monitors.
Motion by Ms. Tipp, is there a
I'll
second? Second by Ms. Buck. Discussion, questions?
I just want to say thank you, and especially to Bob for taking this into consideration and putting some real thought and taking some time to really make sure that we're doing this thoroughly. So I really appreciate.
You know, that's the goal. I'd rather take a little time and do it right the first time instead of having to fix it later. Right? We'll see. We may still have to adapt.
Well, anything new, we all know that that's the case. We just already plan A, B, and C, right? But there's something that we should be taking very seriously is that when those children come to us, we need to make sure that they return happy and healthy back to their families. So thank you very much for putting a lot of thought behind this. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes.
What's the plan for recruiting to do
So
this?
on this, we'll put it out there. I mean, we'll have Ann put it out on our system and get things out there and then, kind of go forward from there. I have no idea what the initial response will be. I know we'll have some, you know, how many and what that looks like. Like Nikki said, this is new. See what happens. Okay. Hearing no other questions or discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent report. So for the most part, I guess I really don't have anything additional. We've had parent-teacher conferences that we're going on today throughout the district. Mentioned a little bit before, we've got the veterans program coming up on Friday, which is very much looking forward to. Lisa's been working diligently still on the audit, and she's getting close. I mean, it seems like we say that all the time, but she is getting much closer with that. That's a monumental task to get all of that stuff done.
Thank you, Lisa.
A lot of work has gone into this, so. Otherwise, it's just been kind of working our way through some of the issues that we've had. Spent a lot of time against consumer. I have been teaching a math class 1 hour a day for the last month or so. We had somebody who accepted a position today, so now in a couple of weeks, I'll be able to take that off my plate. So I've enjoyed the time in teaching. That's always a lot of fun. Being able to work with kids is always nice, but I got enough stuff to do. So
I heard today you're good with a compass though.
compass, yeah, we're doing some stuff and it'll be fun. Just hardly got going. So anyway, that's about all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for the superintendent? Got a couple of things under topics and upcoming meetings. I think Ms. Tiff mentioned, we've heard some comments about some happened in the past and what's happening. Some people are saying happening now. We need to be aware of that, have a conversation about it, ask people to be involved in the solution of it too, including us. So we'll put that on the agenda at our next meeting when we meet on Wednesday at our next agenda meeting. And two other things we have.
Gymnastics.
Yes?
Oh, I was just gonna add, to make sure that we're talking also very publicly about what we already are doing. There are a few people that are wondering why we don't have more, a diverse population of teaching. And we all know that we've tried very hard to get that changed, and that's not something that's gonna happen overnight, but we are doing remarkable efforts in that avenue. So I think it's really important to start sharing all the things that we are doing, as well as what more can we be doing.
Maybe we'll look at moving the public comment down farther after a few items that we talk about, in case they want to bring up any questions or what we discussed. We can talk about that and see if that would be proper or not. I don't know. Just something that came to me as you spoke, because we could say that, but it's after the public comment.
Well, and maybe it's just a matter of putting out there in your superintendent report or somewhere else, here's where we're at. And I think, maybe having that as a regular topic moving forward, here's where we're moving the dial, here's the things that we're working on. I think it'd be really important to be transparent to our community about the things that we're working on. Instead of just saying we're working on it, let's actually list things and talk about what we're working on.
Also, I just want to, what we talked at DEI is that this isn't a district problem. This is a community problem.
Right.
So what's going to require is that we should probably reach out to a lot of our community partners, like the City of Red Wing, County Health and Human Services, and also, like, if it is a community problem, then
we need to make space for our members who align with, like, we think this is a problem, but how can we get out of those silos to all work together and we're not gonna eradicate it, but at least we're gonna take steps to move forward where we have identified a problem and that we're committed to finding a solution together. So.
Well said, thank you.
I had a conversation with some people, you know, we try our best, we can always work on trying to do yourself even better. But, you know, for the 30-some hours that we have somebody, a student in a week, there's still 130 hours of them at home with relatives and friends. We need that, you're absolutely right, the community members got to step up, and they said, you're absolutely right, you know, they may hear it somewhere else and bring it to school, or they may hear it at school and repeat it, you know, that type of thing. So we have to work on those things, so with the community support and working on that part of that issue would be greatly appreciated.
It would be interesting to see if we could, as a community, come together to address being a more welcoming community at large for everyone. How would that impact our ability to hire ethnic teachers? You know?
Okay, well, we'll keep building on it.
It's a deep conversation.
Just one of two things I got. Tomorrow's election day, and we didn't realize that. Good luck to everybody that's running for office. It's, I appreciate everybody that's put their name down to run. It's part of the American democracy that we have. People have a right to go vote for whoever they want to represent them and their ideas going forward in whatever office, right? So, good luck tomorrow. I can't wait till Wednesday. So, all the stuff going on. We also all probably received some emails, some conversations, some phone calls the past several weeks. So Superintendent and Vice Chair here, we've had conversations about this thing. So I'm making a statement tonight. A few weeks ago, the school board was made aware of an alleged theft by a member of our school board. This matter is not related to any school operations or activities and is currently under review by the appropriate authorities. We want to emphasize our commitment to maintain the highest standards of integrity and accountability within our schools and among those who serve our community. While the board member question is afforded due process, our primary focus remains on the welfare and education of our students. We appreciate the continued trust of our community as we navigate this situation and will provide updates as necessary, respecting all legal and privacy considerations. So that said, anybody else have anything else?
I have one quick question.
Yes.
November 15th, you have listed here that there's possibly a special meeting for canvassing the election results. Or is that
That would be
happening?
likely, that's the likeliest, because we've got a window of time in which we can canvass, and when you're looking through the calendar and whatnot, that was the most likely date. So, that is the tentative date that we would end up for canvassing the election.
And that's a Friday, do you have a time in mind? or-
We don't know. We don't know who'd even be on it.
So, well, no, but as far as canvassing, that's just a meeting that we gotta have regardless of who it ends up being. So, part of it ends up being just how quickly we get the returns and some of those kind of things. So, that meeting could actually be held, that can be held virtually as well. So that way we don't have to all gather in order to get that taken care of. It's a very simple, meeting where we just go through the, vote getters and, essentially recognize those who have been elected.
So Lisa just threw, you know.
Yeah, I just didn't,
I
I
don't
saw it
know.
on there, we had talked about
I
it.
didn't even notice
didn't
that,
know.
so. 15th, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
And that would be during the day, right?
yes, Ms. Osborne.
It doesn't have to necessarily be like a topic, but I'm wondering if, Superintendent Joshua, if you could give us an update on where things are at with first student, maybe the next meeting, or 2 meetings out or whatever, the information you gathered and how things have been going or,
So,
you know.
I actually can give you a quick update right now.
Sure.
So with First Students, what we've ended up doing now, we've created a form that tracks anytime we end up with buses that are late, anything that's going along those lines. Then what I've done, so I've taken the documentation that we've had to this point, compiled that. Today I was starting to go through and I just ran out of time, but there will be some financial ramifications for First Student for the number of times we've had buses that are late, buses haven't shown up, those kind of things. I've been very direct in the conversations that I've had with First Student. With them, here lately now, we're starting to get a few more people that are coming in as drivers, so that's helping take a little bit of the pressure off, but at the same time, we fully recognize that Old Man Winter is right around the corner. We can't have kids sitting on the corner. The other day it was raining cats and dogs, and we had kids that were sitting out because the bus hadn't shown up. So those are things that it's almost a daily occurrence when I end up having some sort of conversation with them.
Great question. Now we'll put that on. What else was there? There's something else we were gonna talk about. We have, well, 2 more meetings till the end of the year. 3 more. Are you counting?
And it has no comment.
All right, anybody have anything else? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Osterloh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Funk. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.